Friends, so today we'll discuss about how to get the student data in CRUD project, which is in MySQL we have done. Now, what we have to check in the last video, as we have encountered the problem with the other server where we have used the MySQL workbench. Now here we have decided to use the XAMPP server also because they were getting error in the MySQL workbench. So we have used the MySQL Apache Workbench for connecting here. Okay, so as per our last project, we have done our server.js file configuration, and in that way, I will show once again how the connection gets established and how we in this. So we will try. See, our database connection is successful, and with the local host connection is also successful. Now, what we will do, we will check our database here with our configured in our MySQL in our SAM server. So we'll go to configuration or we can go to admin, and here we can check in our PHP myadmin the database which you have set. So I have given the student underscore DB as the database name, and in the students table I have created and I have inserted the dummy data as per our last video. If you follow my playlist, you will find it here. The last video I have also the description field also I have given this insert into students data, so that dummy data we have inserted it here, and in that way we got the dummy data by putting it in SQL. Okay, so this is all about students database configuration. Now what we will check, we will do our connection query. We will check our API part now today. So for this we will create a new folder named in a route in our project directory, in our node directory. Okay, so in our root directory we will create a project. Let's say we will create a folder here in Nodejs. So the folder I will create is route. So we have created a folder named routes here in our root directory. We'll create. So this is the routes folder. Okay. Now in the folder, what we'll do, we'll create a file named studentRoutes.js. So this we are doing in order to get all our students API by means of CRUD application. So I will create a new file here named studentRoutes.js. Now in that file, what we have to include, we will include this my express. These are the two packages which we will insert. Now, the express we will call here, and in that way, we will also declare the route. Now, we have to get the student list. Simply, we'll while getting the student list, we will call the route, and we will get the route list. Okay. Now, next thing here also we can put it call out to semicolon if you want. Now, module.exports we will do, so that will what will it will export our routes here, and after creating a route we'll create a new controller. So for this we will create a folder named controller. Okay, so in the same way we will create a folder named so we have to create in a root directory. So in a root directory we will create a folder. Let me create on this, and this is student route selected. So this route folder I will delete because there is no use of folder. Is the main folder student.route. Okay, now in that way we will click on it and will put a new folder where controller. Okay, so controllers folder we will create, will rename it controllers. Okay, okay, so now what we will do, we will create a new file here named studentController.js. Okay, so this we have to go on the root directory. In the root folder we will create this root folder. So this is our Node.js modules and controller folder we will create here. So we'll have to basically drag and drop here in our so basically we will create without creating here, we can easily create it here in our project itself with a new folder named controllers, because we will follow the MVC pattern, MVC model view and controller. So in that controller we will create, now we will expand it here in our Visual Studio Code Editor controllers. Now we create a new file here, studentController.js. Okay. After creating it, what we will do, we will export, we will write this query get student, because you have to get the student data ultimately. Okay. So with that, we will write it in student.routes also we have done. Now we have to get the data in controller. So we have to write this command const.getStudents. And in that way, we will publish it module, we will write, and module.exports automatically. Now the get students function will call, because we have called them get students. Okay, so that way we have created it. Now here also we will define it later. So right now we'll stop here. Okay, and we will define the function here later. So more work would be done here on the controller side. Here just we are getting an overview on how we will call our get students function. After calling module.exports, we will ensure that our routes and middleware is placed. Now add in student.route. What we have to add? We have to add this file, because we have imported used it in controller. So we will add this at the top of the stating that we have used the controller path, the student controller file. Okay. So studentController.js is our file where we have declared it. Okay. Now what we will write in server.js, what we have to do, we have to use the API part. So we will write app.js. Okay. And in that JS file, we will write this code because we have to get the student data. So we can declare it here in the middle of it, app.use. Okay. So this we will ensure that the student routes get route data data we will call, and we can get it in comment. So here we can get all student data also. We can write it all get all here if you want, because you want to ultimately get the all student data. Okay, so if we write it get all here, so we will get all student data. Okay, so here we can write it get all student data, get all student data. Now in that data, we will access this part, get all, access it by Postman tool. So if you want to access it like way, we can also do it in our Visual Studio Code. But here we will not get output now, because we have not written our controller function. So we'll do it later. So stay tuned for it. We will give our basic overview now. Now we will open our Postman tool, which is installed in our computer. So we'll open the Postman tool. After opening Postman, what we have to do? We have to create a collection named MySQL underscore CRUD. You can give you any name you want, but since we are doing a CRUD project, so that's the reason we have given this name. So we'll allow it for the network security part. Okay, it's asking for successfully updated version. Okay, now sign out. Okay, so it's asking to sign in my computer. Okay, so just I will close it. I will sign out on it manually. Okay, let's forget it. Let me open it again. So let me open the Postman. Okay, so I have opened the collection here. So this is my previous project which we have done. Now we have to click on the plan collection. It's asking me to create a coupon Lightweight API client. Okay, so I will create a collection again. So I will click on here. Click on lightweight API client. Okay, I will write it new here and I will create a blank collection. Okay, for blank collection, we have to create an account here. So I will just sign in with my account and will continue. Okay, so I have logged in with my API with our Postman tool, and here you can log in with your Gmail account as I have logged in with my account. Okay, so after login, you will see this window, collection window. Now, this I have API I have used. So this is a new project. So I will create a new API. I will give the project name as CRUD underscore API, or I will create a new collection here, clicking on new blank collection. Okay, in that blank collection, I will write my collection name as MySQL underscore group. So you can also specify the name you want, any name you want. Now, after in that collection, what I will do, I will write a this URL, paste it in the URL because we want to get the data in our Postman tool. Okay, so here we will see the authorization part. You will click on here basic or so after creating the collection, we will add a request, which type of request you want. So here you can add a request. So I will write get all. Okay, because I have to get the data of all student. Okay, so now in the URL, since it's get request, I will create it. Now, if you will click it on send, okay, then our code will work. Means, if you, now it will not do anything because there is no connection request associated with it because we have not written the controller code. Okay, so in the next video, we will be mostly using the async function in the controller file to get better understanding of how to pull the student data in our Postman tool. Okay, so this is all about our student API project where we have discussed the basic setup of our routes, views, and controller routes and controller in our MVC pattern for Node.js. Okay, so stay tuned for next video. Thank you for watching.